Monday evening. Good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome. Hi, my name is Apostate Alex. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am a former Scientologist. I used to be the director of public book sales at the Church of Scientology in London, and now I'm calling for an end to the abuse inside that organisation. Now, today we're going to be talking about a final ruling that has come through from the Information Commissioner's Office here in the UK. I'm going to give a little bit of background first so you understand where we're at for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about. But first, let's say hi to those of you in the chat. Hey Hon Puds says, hey Alex, hello, welcome. We have Kirby's mum in the chat. Hi Alex, hi guys, thank you for joining. Anna Reese is here. Hey, hello, welcome, thank you for joining. So, a little bit of background information. A year ago, in January of 2024, a number of former Scientologists and local residents spoke at an East Grinstead Town Council meeting. East Grinstead, because that's the town in which Scientology's UK headquarters is located, St Hill Manor, and they spoke at this council meeting and raised very valid concerns about the mayor of East Grinstead attending Scientology events. It was revealed that the mayor of East Grinstead went to the International Association of Scientologists event, the IES event, which happens every October. In 2023, it was actually in November, but nonetheless, the mayor went and accepted a cheque on behalf of his charity, which at the time was actually a company he worked for. It was Queen Victoria Hospital, and that is where the mayor of East Grinstead actually worked at the time. So it was all very questionable. And then in November, he attended the St Hill Christmas light switch on and trotted up on stage and turned on Scientology's Christmas lights. And a number of people were really concerned about that. And one person in particular, Danielle Chamberlain, spoke at the East Grinstead Town Council meeting in January and said, how do you think it makes me feel to see a public official going to Scientology's UK headquarters when I was horrifically abused as a child at St Hill? Very valid question. And there were 2 or 3 other people, I believe, that asked questions at this council meeting and was trying to hold the mayor to account for attending these events. Now, since then, there is a new mayor in place in East Grinstead. There's a different person who's mayor. However, that hasn't stopped him going to turn on the St Hill lights this year, and this saga has been ongoing. Now, following the meeting on the 29th of January, I asked for the council to disclose the minutes of the meeting because East Grinstead Town Council upload the videos, the recordings of their council meetings to their YouTube channel, but had redacted the entire public questions portion of the meeting from the upload on YouTube. And in the minutes of the meeting, they redacted all of the questions that were asked and just said something along the lines of members of the public raised concerns. They didn't actually list the questions or the answers that the mayor gave. So I submitted a Freedom of Information Act request for the council to disclose the minutes of the meeting and anything associated with them, i.e. any communication the council has had with St Hill and Scientology, and the council denied my request and labelled me a vexatious bully. They said that they are exempt from disclosing this information under the Freedom of Information Act because of the nature of my request being vexatious. So I wrote to the Information Commissioner's Office, who deals with enforcing Freedom of Information Act requests with public bodies, and I complained, and the Information Commissioner ruled that the East Grinstead Town Council have to supply the goods. So my request wasn't vexatious. So, East Grinstead Town Council handed over some documents, which included a number of emails from the then clerk. The town clerk has since resigned. There is a new town clerk in place. However, in one of those emails, it alluded to another email, which was not provided as part of the request. So I complained to the Information Commissioner and I said, look, they have not supplied all of the information that I've requested under the Freedom of Information Act request, and the evidence is here. In this email that they have supplied, it talks about this other email, and they haven't given this other email, which they have to under the wording of my request. So today I'm bringing to you the final ruling of the Information Commissioner on this issue, and for me it paints a picture that suggests East Grinstead Town Council potentially are trying to conceal their very close relationship with Scientology, and the evidence that has come to light since this request was initially made further proves those claims. For example, at the most recent East Grinstead Town Council meeting that I attended in person, of the 4 people, members of the public that were present at the end of the meeting, only 2 of them were invited for drinks in the mayor's parlour afterwards, and those 2 people were Scientology's senior spokespeople and head of Office of Special Affairs. So it indicates here the council has a very close relationship with the Church of Scientology, and that is what is worrying. That is why I'm trying to hold them to account, and that is why I complained to the Information Commissioner. That is also why, in April of last year, the Daily Mail did a huge double-page expose on the close relationship East Grinstead Town Council have with Scientology and raised very valid concerns and published pictures, for example, of the mayor going to the Mission Impossible premiere at Leicester Square and standing on the red carpet and meeting Tom Cruise. So, very valid concerns that the public are interested in. There's public interest in this. So, let's have a little look at this decision notice. This is the document in its entirety, which I've not yet published, but I will in due course. It is currently available on the Information Commissioner's website. 31st of January 2025. Decision notice. Let's just read through the whole thing. The complainant, that's me, requested information from East Grinstead Town Council relating to the minutes of a meeting. The council disclosed some information, however the complainant believes that more information will be held by it. The Commissioner's decision is that the council does not hold any further information for the purposes of Section 1 of the Freedom of Information Act. 3. The Commissioner does not require the council to take any steps. Okay, but let's have a little look at why. Request and response. On the 1st of February 2024, the complainant, that's me, wrote to the council and requested information in the following terms. The minutes to the council meeting on the 29th of January 2024 contains no record of the questions asked or the answers given during the public question time. The meeting was recorded on Zoom, but that has been redacted also, with the public question time removed from the East Grinstead Town Council's YouTube page. Please could you provide any and all records of the questions asked and the answers given, including the video recording of the public questions segment of the council meeting held on 29th of January. Please also supply any and all internal email and or written communications, call logs and meeting records or minutes in relation to the questions raised at this meeting that have been held internally or with other internal and external parties. Now, I want to throw in here as well that in response to the initial request that I submitted and the Information Commissioner's initial ruling, I did file a complaint with East Grinstead Town Council. They heard my complaint and the resolution was that the minutes and the meeting was uploaded to YouTube unredacted, apart from a very small portion. So I did fight for the survivors of abuse at Scientology who spoke at this meeting, and we did come to a resolution where they supplied the minutes and they supplied the unredacted recording to their YouTube channel. However, what they did not supply is all the other stuff, the emails, the correspondence between St Hill and East Grinstead Town Council. So it was point 3 here, the final paragraph. Please supply any and all internal email and or written communication. The council responded on the 16th of February. It applied section 14.1 of the FOIA to refuse the request, in brackets vexatious requests. So they said that because I had submitted 4 Freedom of Information Act requests in a 4-month period, I was therefore vexatious and therefore they were not required to supply the information, which the Information Commissioner then ruled was not the case. Following a subsequent complaint to the Information Commissioner, the Commissioner issued decision notice, blah, 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 on the 21st of August 2024. The decision notice required the Council to respond to the request again without relying upon Section 14.1, which was a vexatious request. The Council responded again to the complainant on the 3rd of September 2024. It disclosed information in response to the request and said that it holds no further information. So, East Grinstead Town Council said, we're not giving you anything, you're a vexatious bully. The Information Commissioner stepped in and said, you have to hand over the goods, he's not vexatious, and East Grinstead Town Council handed over some of the goods. I then got back to them and I said, you haven't handed over everything, and they came back to me a few days later and said, here's a few more documents. And then I realised that they were alluding to emails that they did not supply. So I then took it back to the Information Commissioner. As it says here in point 8, the complainant has now made a further complaint to the Information Commissioner, arguing that the council does hold further information falling within the scope of the request for information dated 1st of February 2024. Scope of the case. The complainant contacted the Information Commissioner on the 12th of September 2024 to complain about the way his request for information had been handled. The following analysis considers whether, on the balance of probabilities, the council holds further information falling within the scope of the complainant's request on 1st of February 2024. Section 1.1 is further information held by the council. Section 1.1 of the FOIA requires that a public authority must inform the requester in writing whether it holds information falling within the scope of the request. If it does hold relevant information, it also requires that it communicates the information to the requester, subject to any exclusions or exemptions applying. So, if you submit a Freedom of Information Act request to a public body, they have to reply and say whether or not they hold the information. They also have to give you that information. Obviously, they can redact it if it's personal identifiable information. There's a couple of other exemptions they can rely on, but by law, they have to provide the information. And if they don't, they have to tell you why they're not providing it, but they have to disclose whether they hold the information or not. In scenarios where there is some dispute between the amount of information held, which a public authority says it holds, and the amount of information that a complainant believes is held, the Commissioner, following the lead of a number of first-tier tribunal information rights decisions, applies the civil standard of the balance of probabilities. In other words, in order to determine such complaints, the Commissioner must decide whether, on the balance of probabilities, a public authority holds any or additional information which falls within the scope of the request, or was held at the time of the request. For clarity, the Commissioner is not expected to prove categorically whether the information or further information is held. In such cases, the Commissioner will consider the complainant's evidence and arguments. He will consider the actions taken by the authority to search for the relevant information, and will take into account any other reasons offered by the public authority to explain why the information is not held. Finally, he will consider any reason why it is inherently likely or unlikely that information is not held. The complainant's position, that's me, so I argued that the council holds further information falling within the scope of his request for information. He has provided examples where disclosed documents refer to other documents which have not been disclosed as part of the council's response to his request of 1st of February 2024. So here, the Information Commissioner is agreeing that I have provided evidence that the council did hold other documents that it withheld and did not provide as part of my request on the 1st of February 2024. So although the decision is that no information is going to be provided, we'll get to that in a second, the Information Commissioner here is agreeing that I have provided sufficient evidence that the council held documents and did not give them to me as part of the Freedom of Information Act request. And that is why this is a pivotal ruling, because this is proving East Grinstead Town Council have withheld information from me and they have refused to give it, even though they are obligated to do so. And that for me is worrying, because it signifies, or it signals, that perhaps the East Grinstead Town Council are hiding something. They don't want to disclose this information, and indeed they haven't. The council's position. The council argues that it does not hold any further information falling within the scope of the complainant's request of 1st of February 2024. The council said that it has carried out searches of its records. These would be held in electronic form, as it does not retain records in hard copy, paper form. It said that searches were made of staff and councillors' emails and shared drive folders which are used by all members of staff, using the appropriate and obvious words that would bring up the relevant information. No further information was located. It said that it has considered the specific examples of other documents referred to by the complainant. It confirmed that one of the specified documents had already been disclosed to the complainant previously, but said that it has not located any further information. It believes some of the referenced communications may refer to phone calls where no record was made of the call. In the case of other reference documents, it confirmed that its further searches had not located any relevant information held by it. So, I've asked for the information, the council have said, we can't find it on our systems. That's essentially where we're at. That doesn't mean the information doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that it isn't being withheld or the council are telling the truth. It just means the council have said, we searched for it and we couldn't find it. That doesn't mean that they don't have it and that they are not providing it. It said the information would only have been destroyed in line with the council's retention and disposal policy, which notes that the council will appropriately dispose of information that is no longer required. However, the policy does not require that a record is made of the destruction of documents, and so it would not hold a record of it. So essentially, they're saying it's possible that we had these documents and we've destroyed them, but we don't know because we don't keep a record of what we destroy, so we don't know whether we even destroyed it. It could have been deleted and there's no way of checking and there's no process in place to keep a log of what's deleted, so we can't even check if there was something that was deleted. We don't know what we've deleted. We don't know. It is gone. We could have had it. We don't have it anymore, but there's no way of verifying that, is essentially the council's position here. It confirmed that copies of destroyed documents would not be held in other locations. So the Information Commissioner here has actually gone the extra mile and they have said, okay, well, do you have backup systems anywhere? For example, if your system backs up once a month and you deleted a document yesterday, it's possible that you can find a backup on another server and restore the document because you still own that information. Even though you've deleted it on your computer, there might be a backup somewhere. So the Information Commissioner has said, okay, cool, you said that you may have had it and it may have been deleted, but you know, where are your backups? Where is the information held? Have you got any external hard drives? Are there other printed documents that maybe you've lost? The Information Commission here is really doing a good job of ensuring that no stone is left unturned, and they are looking into every possible opportunity to get this information because they have said, you guys have got this information, and the council are saying, no, we could have, but we don't, and they're trying to get to the bottom of it. Finally, the council confirmed that there is no business purpose to retain documents which are no longer required by it. Fair enough. So, the Commissioner's conclusion. The Commissioner has considered the arguments submitted by both parties. The Commissioner's test for the or I guess this is a spelling mistake because I think what it's meant to read is the test for the Commissioner is whether relevant information is held by the council at the time that the request is received, not whether it should have been held. The Commissioner notes that the complainant's references are specific and that they do indicate that some further information might have been held by the council at some point. However, not all information is expected to be retained by an authority where there is no business requirement for it to retain that information. So, because so much time has passed since my complaint and since putting in my Freedom of Information Act request, the council could have routinely destroyed this information because they don't retain information after a certain period of time, which is completely fair. However, the fact is they've elongated this process for so long that by the time this decision for the Information Commissioner has come along, the council have said, we don't have it anymore. It's possible we did. We may have deleted it, but we're allowed to delete stuff because we don't keep records of emails and things like that for longer than 30 days or whatever it is. And so therefore we can't provide the goods. So they are playing Scientology's rule here. Scientology like to delay investigations, and the policy is to string things out as long as possible so that people just give up in the end. So because East Grinstead Town Council have strung this out for a year, they are well within their right to say we don't hold that information anymore, but it is very possible, as the Information Commissioner has now ruled, that the council did have this information when I first asked for it. But because they've strung it out for so long, they can say they don't have it anymore because it's been deleted. Paragraph 2.7.3 of the Section 46 Code of Practice on Records Management provides guidance that authorities should ensure that staff are aware that there is no need to keep ephemeral material, and this may be destroyed on a routine basis, for example by deleting trivial emails and messages after they've been read and discouraging staff from keeping multiple or personal copies of documents. So, it's perfectly reasonable. I'm not suggesting the council need to keep all of their emails for a year, but the point here is that at the time of me requesting these minutes and all of the information, I believe that there were emails between the council and St. Hill, Scientology's headquarters, and at the time, I believe the council had these documents. The Information Commissioner agrees with me here. The Information Commissioner is saying it does look like there were documents that were there at the time. But because they were just trivial emails between two people that didn't really hold any business value, East Grinstead Town Council have now deleted those emails, which they are within their right to do so, and now they can't hand over the goods. So it's completely reasonable for East Grinstead Town Council to delete these emails over a period of time. However, the point is, at the moment I requested them to be handed over, they should have done so, and they did not. Now, because they've strung out this process for so long, they've now deleted the emails, which I think is a very poor business decision. If someone is requesting information, like you to disclose information to the Information Commissioner, and you know you've got it and you're refusing to give it to hand it over, I think it's very unwise to then delete all that information and hide those records and destroy them so that when it does come to a conclusion, you can say, we don't have them anymore. They are hiding something here, and that is why this is worrying. There is no contradictory evidence available to the Commissioner that indicates the Council's position is wrong. I agree, there's nothing wrong with deleting trivial emails after a period of time. However, it is wrong that they deleted them after they had been requested. Given the Council's description of the searches which it has described in seeking to locate this information, the Commissioner is satisfied that on the balance of probabilities, no further information is held by the Council, falling within the scope of the complainant's request on the 1st of February 2024. And then it talks about rights of repeal, how I can take it to a first-tier tribunal court if I would like to do so, and I can appeal it and so on. That's how I do it through the judicial system. So that is the Information Commissioner's ruling. The ruling is that they don't have any information to give me, which is fair. They've deleted it. But the Information Commissioner made a very, very good point here that it's possible, and they actually think it's likely, that these documents were held by the Council and they refused to hand them over, and the Council have now destroyed those documents. For a council that is under a lot of scrutiny, where a lot of members of the public and members of the press, journalists at the Daily Mail, are calling out this council's close relationship with Scientology, when somebody requests the documents that prove you have a relationship with Scientology and you don't hand them over and subsequently destroy them, that is very worrying, and I think puts the council into disrepute, which is why it's an issue, because the council should be accountable and transparent, and they should be able to be open with their communications, and they should fulfill requests sent by the members of the public. So all this does for me is solidify the thought in my mind and the conclusion that I've made that East Grinstead Town Council are controlled by Scientology, whether it be on paper or not. They've got their tentacles in their little pies, their fingers in all their pies, and Scientology are directing the council in many ways more than you would like to imagine, and the proof of that has been destroyed. That is why it's worrying, because a council should not be acting in this way, and a council should hand over the documents that have been requested. Let's have a little look at some of these questions. Wise Mama asks, question, are the hedges still up? Excellent question, and yes they are. I believe you've asked this, or someone has asked this quite a lot recently in all of my live streams, and every time I reply, yes, they are still there. It is going to take months for them to be removed, and I will report as soon as they are taken down. For those of you watching this stream who have no idea what I'm talking about, essentially Scientology planted this hedgerow, these trees, and a fence on the land opposite their entrance at St. Hill, and the Mid Sussex District Council, or was it West Sussex? I think it was West Sussex Sussex County Council ordered Scientology to remove the hedges and said, hey, you can't plant hedgerows and fencing on land that's not yours. This is public land. It's a danger to motorists. Get rid of it. And Scientology have said, no, we're not going to do that. And so the council have come back and said, cool, well, we're going to remove it and send you the bill. There is a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, I understand, at the moment with regard to this hedgerow, but the council are remaining firm in their position that Scientology can't just put hedges and fencing on land that's not theirs. And so that's going to be ongoing and will be ongoing for some time. But I'll update you guys as and when I can. Bulk Buddy says, how can the public not infer that money is changing hands with the council members if the council members are not Scientologists themselves? What else is the benefit to them inviting this trouble? Exactly. This looks really bad for East Grinstead Town Council. Why would a council destroy documents that would prove or disprove that there is a relationship between East Grinstead Town Council and Scientology? If the documents were not incriminating, or if the documents didn't suggest that Scientology had a very close relationship with the council, then they would hand those documents over. But because they are incriminating, because the documents would prove the close relationship Scientology have with the council, they've destroyed them and they are now unable to be accessed. Destroying evidence is exactly what the council have done, in my opinion. Buddy said the council should search the mayor's private cell phone and email. Well, yeah, exactly. That's another thing. Recently, I requested a copy of all of the mayor's engagements, and I said, give me a list of all the things that the mayor has been to in the last year. And I noticed that the St Hill Christmas light switch on was not on that list. So I emailed back and I said, I noticed that the St Hill Christmas light switch on isn't on that list, and I'm aware that the mayor did go to Scientology's headquarters to turn on their Christmas lights. Why is that not in the list that you provided of the mayor's engagements? And the council's response was that the engagement was booked not through the office, meaning Scientology gave the mayor a phone call on his private mobile phone or email, not on the council systems, and requested he show up, and the mayor agreed and showed up and turned on their Christmas lights. It was then subsequently added to the list of the mayor's engagements, but it was excluded because the arrangement was not made through the office, i.e. the council. It was a private arrangement, but it was an official visit. It was an official engagement, and he was there as mayor, not as a private citizen. So the council should search the mayor's private cell phone and email. I agree. I don't know whether there's scope to do that within legislation, but I'm sure it would turn up some very disturbing information. Wise Mama, you're asking for a response to emails. They were obviously linked at one time. They retained the first part of the email, but not the response. So they just plucked out specific emails. Exactly. So they sent me, one of the emails they sent me, which I'll bring up on the screen another time. I don't have them open in front of me, but they provided an email which was a reply to another email, which was referencing an email from their solicitors to do with disclosing information. And the only email they gave me was the reply. They didn't show me the email that it was a reply to, nor did they show me the email that was the one before that with the document in it from the lawyer that it was referencing. So there were two emails there that I believe were not disclosed. And if that was not disclosed, who knows what else wasn't disclosed? Because I only knew of those two emails because it was referenced in one email that they did provide me. So they shot themselves in the foot there. If they hadn't provided that one email, I would never have known that there was more information they weren't disclosing. But now I do. And now my question is, what else have they hidden? What else are they trying to stop from coming out into the public realm? Wise Mama, maybe the Daily Mail needs to do another article. Well, yeah, exactly. 100%. Wise Mama also says, bet you they are going to buy the strip of hedge land from the council. I'm sure that is one of the offers that they will make, and I'm sure the council will respond by saying that land is not for sale. Even if the land was for sale, the council will still have rights to it, because in the UK, even if your property goes right up to the road, within a metre or so of the actual road, it might be your property, but the council have rights to it because they don't want people building stuff on the curb or on the verge next to the road that could be a danger to motorists. So the council actually have rights over your land, even if it was your own private land. So Scientology could buy the property off of the council, but the council would still have to say and be able to say you're not allowed to put a fence or hedgerow there because it's a danger to motorists, even if it was sold to them. So, guys, that is the update from me. It's very concerning. The Information Commissioner has ruled that East Grinstead Town Council held information. They did not disclose it, and they have subsequently destroyed it. And all of this information is in relation to the council's relationship with the Church of Scientology, and it indicates to me that these roots run deep, and there is more to be investigated. Now, I've been making a bit of a stink for quite a while now about the close relationship Scientology have with this council and why it is so concerning. And here we now have evidence that the council are willing to destroy evidence in order to cover up that relationship, which just goes to show why it's more concerning. Because what are they hiding? If they had nothing to hide, then they wouldn't be afraid of handing over these emails. And if a council is in cahoots with Scientology, what does that mean Scientology are getting away with that the council are turning a blind eye to? It also brings up the question of the Public Spaces Protection Order. Scientology have requested a ban on protesting outside their UK headquarters, St Hill, and that's dealt with at the Mid-Sussex District Council level, which is one up from East Grinstead Town Council. However, part of the process of assessing whether a Public Spaces Protection Order needs to be implemented will be to talk to and gather evidence from local residents. And I'm sure East Grinstead Town Council will be a part of that. One of the people that will have a say in whether to implement a ban will be the town council. And I can imagine they probably hold quite a bit of weight as a local authority that deals with local residents. So it is even more concerning that they might have a say in banning protests that happen outside St Hill when they are clearly bought off by Scientology and destroying evidence of their close relationship. It is extremely worrying and extremely concerning when it comes to our freedom of speech and our right to protest. We have a right to assembly, peaceful assembly. We have a right to demonstrate on public land, and we have not been causing a nuisance. It is not persistent. It is not ongoing. It is a one-off event that's happened twice in the last 6 years. That, to me, does not meet the criteria needed for a public spaces protection order, which requires the nuisance to be persistent and ongoing and recurring. However, if East Grinstead Town Council are destroying evidence that shows they have a close relationship with Scientology, what does that mean they're going to do when it comes to Mid-Sussex District Council asking for their input on the PSPO? Will East Grinstead Town Council stand up and defend our right to demonstrate and our right to speak and our right to freedom of assembly and demonstration? I don't think the council will fight for our rights as protesters. I think the council will fight for Scientology and request that the protest be banned, which is why it is concerning. Scientology build relationships with government officials under a policy called the Safe Point. All you have to Google is Scientology safe pointing. It is a policy that clearly directs the reason Scientology build relationships with government officials is so that they turn the other way and they help them out in stifling free speech and silencing and censoring critics. That is why that policy exists. That is what they do. That's why they want to build a relationship with the council. And it is clearly working because now they have a council that is willing to destroy evidence and documents and quite possibly stand up in Scientology's favour to try and censor our criticism of the abuse inside Scientology's organisation. One thing I want to make very, very clear, if to any councillors or officers that are watching this, I have no issue, and we as protesters do not have an issue with people who want to believe in Scientology. In the UK, you have a freedom of belief. You have it's a human right to believe in whatever you want, follow any faith. We have no issue with people being Scientologists. We are simply calling for an end to the abuse inside the organisation. We are separating belief from behaviour, and we are saying it is not appropriate for Scientology to engage in forced familial disconnection, forced forced abortions, hard manual labour, hard punishments, being thrown in the lake in winter as punishment, being locked in rooms, forcing children to do ethics conditions, and forcing people to believe that they are the ones responsible for pulling in anything that happens to them. Even if you were raped or anything like that as a child, it's your fault. In Scientology, it's the belief that you're the problem, not the person who did it to you. And all of that behavior is not what we agree with. We believe that that behavior needs to stop, and that is why we are protesting. We're not protesting their so-called religious beliefs, we're protesting their atrocious behavior. And when East Grinstead Town Council enable this behaviour by destroying documents and supporting Scientology, and the mayor goes to events at Scientology's headquarters, that sends a horrifying message to survivors of abuse inside that organisation, and that does not give the message that people will be listened to and heard, and there will be people fighting their corner if they speak out against the abuse that they suffered. That's why I'm fighting so hard for this and will continue to do so. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you want to support my activism and everything that I'm doing, please consider using the Buy Me a Coffee link down below. There's also PayPal, all of that sort of stuff. These donations go towards this fighting. This back and forth with the Information Commissioner has been ongoing for a year. I've only done about 4 videos on this in the whole year. I've given very limited updates because I've been very tight on what I share about this, because it's been an ongoing thing, and it has now come to a conclusion, and the conclusion shows that East Grinstead Town Council are in cahoots with Scientology. That is the evidence that we have uncovered in this year-long process, and your donations have helped me get there. So if you support what I am doing, I will continue doing so with your support through Buy Me a Coffee. So thank you so much. You can also help in non-financial ways, liking, commenting down below once the live stream is over, sharing this on social media. What do you think about a council having such a close relationship with Scientology? And how does it make you feel that this council have destroyed documents in order to cover up that relationship? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.